Hi, welcome to the very first ever episode of the Calling for Orpheus Knitting Podcast. My name is Connor, and you can find me at Calling for Orpheus on both Instagram and Ravelry, both of which are going to be linked in the description. So since this is my first ever video of any kind ever, I think some introductions are in order. Like I said, my name is Connor. I'm an 18-year-old knitter based in southern North Carolina. I learned to knit about 5 years ago, but when I first learned to knit for several years, I really only made very small projects, and I only picked up the needles every now and again. It wasn't something that I was doing constantly. And sometime in 2022, I kind of got bit by the knitting bug. I want to say it was early 2022, and ever since then, I've been knitting much more seriously, and it's sort of become my major hobby. Um, and so today, I want to talk about um, things I finished recently, recent finished objects, and I want to talk about my current whips, and also instead of talking about acquisitions, because I don't really have specific acquisitions to talk about. I have obtained a lot of yarn recently because it was my birthday. Like last week, it was my birthday, um, and I bought a bunch of yarn as a gift to myself. But pretty much all of that yarn is being used in some of the whips. Or I have a this is like my favorite hoodie, and I was a whole no. Sorry. Pretty much all of it is either being used in current whips, or it's going to be part of my near future project. So I feel like there's not really much of a reason for me to talk about. Oh no, I'm forgetting words. Acquisitions. I feel like there's not that much reason for me to talk about it really. Um, and instead, I'm going to talk about projects that I want to make soon. The other thing is, I got COVID at the start of the month. I wasn't sick for very long. I was sick for like 4 or 5 days, but I'm still coughing. So if I cough, if I need to take a break, that's why. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna start with my recent finished objects. Oh no, I have a hanger, but I have a hanger to show them off on, but it's like all the way over. So let me go. Okay, that's much better. So this is the first. Oh no, it's wrinkly. This is the first finished object I have to show, and this is my barley tea. This is my own design. I've written up the pattern. I'm currently in the middle of grading it. I've graded either 5 or 6 of the 11 sizes, so it's supposed to have a pretty large size range, um, ranging from a chest circumference of anywhere from 26 to 68 inches, and finished object circumference of anywhere from 32 to 72 inches, with what is intended to be 4 to 6 inches of positive ease. So it's a pretty large range of sizes. I could technically grade it up even larger, but I think like 9 to 11 sizes is typically what's expected of like size inclusive designs. And I think a 72-inch finished object circumference, I think that's enough. I think that's fine. I think it's fine. I could technically grade for more in the future, but for now I think that that's good. It is a contiguous saddle shoulder. So you can see it is a bit hard to see with the yarn that I've chosen. This is knit, by the way, in BC Garn Alino, which is, I think it's a 50-50 cotton linen blend, in the colorway 26, which I want to say is called Olive. So it's marled, and it's, you can see that. So it is a saddle shoulder. There are saddles, but it's knit contiguously. So instead of knitting the saddles and then, picking up along the back and shaping it with short rows, and picking up the front and shaping it with short rows, instead of doing it that way, you cast on a front, a saddle, the back, the other saddle, and the other front, and you knit it like a staggered start raglan, if you're familiar with that. So if you've knit a staggered start raglan, it's really, really easy. It was kind of hard to actually write and grade for, but very, very easy to knit. I think it fits wonderfully. I love the way that it fits. I actually should probably put it on to show you. Okay, so here it is actually on my body, and you can kind of see the bottom. It fits really nicely. It's got great drape. It's very comfortable. I love the yarn. I really love the yarn. It was a little bit tough to knit with because it is a cotton linen blend. My hair's a mess. I'm not gonna be able to fix that actually. It is a cotton linen blend, so it is a bit tough on the hands when you're actually working it, but on the body, it feels amazing. I absolutely just love it. Even in the really, really hot, humid summers that we get here, like, it's just amazing. I love it. I think it's supposed to be a men's pattern, so I think it is like a pretty nice masculine fit. I love the look of the kind of like faux seams it's got because the increases. I just think it's gorgeous. I really love it. I really, really love it. So that's that. Um, like I said, I am currently grading the pattern. Um, but it's probably not going to actually be available until like spring, because even if I do the whole thing, I grade it all up, I don't do testing, I just put it out as is, it's still probably not going to be out until like late August or sometime in September. And I think it'd be hard pressed to find a knitter that is really going to be excited about knitting a sport weight t-shirt in late August or September, you know? Um, so sorry, I'm looking at the viewfinder. Um, So I'm probably gonna hold on to the pattern until the next warm season comes around. But that's what I'm working on. Or that's the pattern that I'm working on right now. Obviously the object is done. And then the second finished object, which I will probably also put on for you in a second, is it's self-drafted kind of, but it's not my own design. So here it is. I'm gonna try to not knock over my coffee. This here you go, is a fingering weight version of the Weekender Crew by Andrea Mowry. I own the Weekender Crew pattern, but I didn't just grade the pattern for my gauge. That's what I should have done, probably. I probably should have just graded the pattern for this fingering weight gauge, and then I would have had an identical object just knit in another gauge. It probably would have been a little annoying, but like I said, I write patterns, I grade patterns, I know how to do it. It would be fine. And it probably would have prevented some of the minor issues that I have with it, which, again, I'm going to pop this on real quick to actually show you a little bit better. Okay, so here it is on me, and the collar is a little ripply. I'll explain why in a second, but there it is on. My pockets are stretching it out, but it's pretty comfortable. It's very, very soft, really lightweight. It's knit in a highly speckled, variegated yarn. What the yarn is if I recall correctly, um, it's from Fiber Cave Yarn, which is a like really small indie dyer on Etsy. I think they mostly do. I'm a little warm. I think they mostly do spinning fiber is kind of what they dye, and they did a couple of yarns. I want to say this is the color Clusterfuckery. I think it's a fingering weight merino nylon blend. It's really what I saw it and I was like, oh, that's an excellent dupe. That's an excellent dupe for Hedgehog Fibers, the colorway Fly. It's greener than that yarn is. That yarn's more teal, but it's very similar, and that's a yarn that you really cannot find anywhere. It's so popular. Yeah, I love it. It's really nice. Something that you can see is for a drop shoulder, like my armpit is right here. I have like big arms, so it may not look like it, but my armpit is right here. Um, so it's quite close fitting the upper body and the sleeves, which is sort of atypical of a drop shoulder sweater. They're normally supposed to have much lower underarm divide, and I would have avoided that had I just graded Andrea's pattern instead of going, yeah, I can do that myself, which is what I actually did. I would have avoided that, but it's not the end of the world. I actually like it a lot. Something that I appreciate is that like I can lift up my arms without my whole garment coming up, which I hate. It's something that happens to me all the time with other hand knit garments, and it's very irritating. But this doesn't do that because of how high the underarms are. The other problem that I had is because of that, because the underarms are so shallow, when the object was finished, I put it on, I was like, oh, this is way too short. And it shouldn't have been, right? Because I had measured out how long the body needed to be perfectly. I'd measured it out. And for some reason, I didn't go, oh, well, I know that I measured the body to 15 inches, which is how long I need the body to be for a 24-inch sweater. I measured it to 15 inches. It's 15 inches. I know that that's how big it is, but it's still too short. So it must be the sleeves, the armholes that are too shallow. Excuse me. And so therefore, I just need to pick out the grafting and then elongate the armholes a little bit. But for whatever reason, that is not what came into my mind. I don't know why. I don't know why. That's not what came into my mind. And what came into my mind was, oh, I must have just knit the body too small. Which I didn't. I know that I didn't. But in the fugue state in which I knit this, I was like, oh, that's clearly the problem. So this is knit from the bottom up, right? It's knit from the bottom up. So what I did was I actually cut out the ribbing. I cut it out. I cut it, and I cut into it vertically like this so that I could no longer use any of the yarn that I used for the ribbing, which was a choice. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why. But I removed the ribbing and got to, let's see, where is it? I can actually pinpoint the exact, here it is. This is the point that I had it knit up to. So as you can see, like, that's way too short. This is my belly button. So like that's way too short. And I picked up and what I did, I tried a couple other things first. What I ended up settling on was I knit just in stockinette and then in ribbing without this slip stitch pattern. And then I went in with a crochet hook and just did a surface chain along the front and the back there. And you might be able to see, oh gosh, kind of hard to see. There it is. Hopefully you can kind of see that. There's a weird little spot there. Focus. Oh, focus, please. Struggling. There we go. That should help it focus a little bit, maybe. Maybe not. Oh, whatever, it's fine. You can see it, even though it's not really focusing very well. You can see there's like a little, some weirdness going on there. And that's just where the surface crochet met with the slip stitch pattern. So it looks kind of funny up close, but like when I'm actually wearing it, you can't tell at all. I mean, there's really absolutely no way for you to tell that I did anything different or that I made a mistake. You really can't tell, especially with how variegated this is. I think it's just fine. So it doesn't bother me at all. It's on the front and the back. I did as best I could for the mistake that I made. I still kind of wish that I had just realized what my actual error was and just unpicked the grafting and knitted the sleeves longer, or the, you know what I mean, knitted the armholes longer. It would have been easier. I don't know why I didn't do that, but I didn't. And then as far as the collar goes, when I first finished this, the collar was about 50% shorter than it is, and like fully blocked and everything. It was just too big. It was coming out to like, it was like fitting like this, and no thanks. Like, it was just fitting like this, and I just don't think that that looks fantastic on me. I prefer a higher, tighter collar. This is obviously like a little bit higher than it really needs to be, but I do prefer a higher, tighter collar. And it was just exposing like a lot of trapezius, really. And I have a very prominent trapezius, and it was just like So I went back in. Thankfully, I had enough yarn to do this, even with the bottom hem debacle. I had enough yarn to do this. I ripped out all of what I had knit for the collar, because it's an applied collar. And then I re-knitted it to be about 50% longer. And I used, because I was sick of doing sewn bind-offs, I was like, I've been doing so many sewn bind-offs, I'm done with it. I think I even did a sewn bind-off for the, yeah, I did. I did a sewn bind-off for the bottom hem, which is like, sorry, which is like not typical of me to go through all that work. Yeah, I was sick of doing sewn bind-offs, so I did an Icelandic bind-off, which is causing it to kind of flare out. And it's not been blocked. I've blocked the whole rest of it. I've blocked the whole rest of it, but the collar specifically has not been blocked, because I was just like, I'm not gonna block either the entire sweater just for a collar, or I'm not gonna block just the collar. Like, it just seems weird. So I was like, I'll just leave it as it is. And when I have to wash it next, I'll wash it, not a big deal, and it'll get blocked then. So it fits a little strangely right now, but it's gonna work out. So I'm back after having another costume change, because none of the other stuff that I have to show in this video is stuff that I can really try on, because next what we've got is works in progress. I'm gonna start with the smallest thing, I guess, which is this. I've got just a little pair of socks here. I've really just started these socks, so maybe you can see, yeah, you can see that, I think. Let me get in there. It really wants to just focus on my face and my hands. But yeah, just a little pair of socks in this really highly variegated yarn. What this is Arcane Fiberworks, whatever their like classic sock base is. It's just merino and nylon in the colorway Oh What a View, I do believe. I would show you like the full size skein, but I don't have it because I've caked it up into two little 50-gram balls. The plan for this is just to have it as a kind of palette cleanser, because as you will see pretty soon, a lot of the things that I have in the needles right now are either working with kind of a thick needle, or it's really large circumference, it's bigger projects. And for me personally, I know that this is kind of an unpopular opinion, but for me personally, it is actually like larger needles, bigger circumferences, that kind of thing that hurts my hands. Whereas smaller needles on smaller circumferences are better. It gives my hands kind of a break. It's easier on my joints. So this is that. It's a really like low pressure, kind of like low priority knit. I'm just gonna knit a tube, round off the toe, and then go in and do an afterthought heel and do that for both of the socks. So yeah, that's basically it with that. And then the next thing. What do I go with next? I'm gonna go with this. Whew. I might need the hanger to show this one off. So this might look familiar. It probably should, since I think you saw the original only about 10 minutes ago. But this is my second sample for my barley tea, so quite exciting. This is knit in a different yarn. This is knit in Juniper Moon Farm Zoe. I actually have an extra skein here. I remember to do that. This is Juniper Moon Farm Zoe in the color White Pepper. It's color number 3. And this is a 60/40 cotton linen blend. Let me see if I can show you that. It's a 60/40 cotton linen blend. It's a sport weight yarn. Just like the Alino, it is a bit finer than the Alino. It has, I think, 10 more meters per 100 grams than the Alino does. So you get a little bit more mileage out of it. It's a very similar feeling yarn. And I'm intending to do some stripes as well. I'm intending to put them like an inch or so after I've finished dividing for sleeves. I'm intending to add some navy blue stripes in the same yarn, it's a different color. And I think it's gonna look really great. I'm gonna wear it all the time, and I'm really excited. The one problem that I have is the yarn, because I love the yarn. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the yarn. It is that perfect, like, papery, dry, um, earthy linen feel that you get, that you know is going to be so comfortable when it gets really hot. Especially when it gets humid, it's gonna be like anti-humidity. Um, but it hurts my hands like a lot. And it's helped. I've switched. I'm a metal needles kind of person. I have switched to wooden ones, which does actually make it easier. It does make it a bit less taxing on my hands, but it's kind of tough. And I have been having actually like wrist pain. I've been having pain in my fingers and my wrists, which is really uncommon for me. And I'm a very avid knitter. I knit a lot. I knit every day. I don't think I've gone more than like over the past 2 years. I don't think I've gone more than 5 days without knitting. I knit a lot, and I have not had hand pain like this since I was doing a 4-day knitting marathon to finish a cardigan, and I literally knit for probably 48 hours straight, like nonstop. And I haven't really had hand pain ever since that. Like, I haven't had hand pain other than that experience. Aside from knitting these summer garments, if I'm knitting with like cotton, linen, or acrylic, it just destroys my hands. Even though I haven't been knitting on it like that much. Like, I've been adding, I don't know, 6 or 7, 5 to 7 rows every day, basically, which is not a lot. Like, that's not a lot of knitting to do. And it's just been absolutely murdering my hands, which sucks because I love it and I want to get it done sooner rather than later, which means I want to work on it as much as I can, but it's murdering my hands. And it's even worse because it's not the last summer knit that I have planned for this season. I do have more summer knits planned, and I'm just nervous that I'm not going to be able to work on them or get them cast on and completed before fall because of my hand health. I don't want to hurt my hands. So I don't know about that. I'm loving the actual product, but I'm a bit nervous. Now, let's, I guess I should talk about this. This is closer. So this is not a knitting project, but is actually a crochet project. So we have here, it looks really crazy on camera. It just kind of looks like I feel like the farther back I go, the more it just kind of looks like TV static. But it's a highly variegated, beautiful, beautiful hand-dyed yarn. This is a hedgehog fibers yarn. I want to like work a little bit on it. This is a hedgehog fibers yarn. This is hedgehog fibers sock in the colorway Celestial. And it's this really crazy, wildly variegated yarn. You can maybe see it as I'm stitching it up. I don't really know if you can, but you can kind of see how the strand, yeah, how much the strand changes. It's got greens, pinks, blues, a lot of purple. I thought it would have more purple than it does. I thought it would be like mostly purple with a little bit of the other colors, but it's like a 25%, I think, blend of all of the colors that are included. It's pretty even actually, um, which I'm quite fond of. And this is a yarn that I would actually not ordinarily pick for myself. I don't tend toward purple. I don't tend toward pink, even though this is pink, but listen, I liked how it looked in the skein, and I was like, it's a sock yarn, it doesn't matter, it could be any color. But for a garment, I don't really tend towards pinks or purples, and this has a lot of both. But for some reason, like, in the whole put up, I really, really like it, sort of as an ensemble, as a whole palette. I really like it, and there's sort of a funny story behind this yarn. Um, I bought it because I saw it in a dream, and I know that sounds demented, because it is, and I think it's sort of a testament to just how much I knit. But I had a dream some time ago. Ooh, my straw's getting gummy. It's a paper straw. I had a dream some time ago about my sister stealing my credit card and using it exclusively to buy things that I wanted, which sounds really funny. And it kind of is. Like, it is kind of funny, but in the moment, it didn't feel funny. Uh, and in this dream, one of the things that she bought was a sweater's quantity of yarn. And it was this yarn. And I looked at it in the dream and I went, that's Hedgehog Fibers yarn. You bought Hedgehog Fibers yarn on my dime and you're not giving it to me? You don't even knit. And I was just like, when I woke up, I like woke up in a cold sweat and I was like, I need that yarn. And I went on Wool Company's website and I found it, and it was this yarn. And I'm gonna get you like a full skein so you can see the full effect. Okay, so here we go. We've got a full skein. This is, like I said, the colorway Celestial. I think the video, it's to me, it's like like mirrored, so it looks backwards. But I think when I'm done filming, it'll flip back around. It'll be fine. Yeah, it's 400 meters, so that's a lot. It's pretty fine yarn. 90% merino wool and 10% nylon. So it's a really just gorgeous blend. And I think this one maybe has a little bit less of the like neon-y green. The color, it doesn't show up that well on camera. Maybe it's because of its colorful surroundings. But as you can see in this one, I can show you the kind of like deflated, sad center pole cake that's like lost the will to live. This is my least favorite part of the process, is when your center pole cake gets like sad. But you can see there's like a lot of that neon green, blue, purple. It's very fun. And this is a kind of like low priority project for me in that I don't feel like I need to be done with it soon. Like I'm working more on my other projects, and this one's just kind of like it's there to pick up if I want to pick it up. I I don't feel the need to finish it anytime soon. I'm not following a pattern. I'm not gonna be writing a pattern for it. It's just a bottom-up seamed crochet sweater. It is a kind of, I guess, a kind of interesting stitch texture. I've got double crochet and half double crochet. It just oscillates between the two. Because I think that gives you like the best drape without a ton of gaps. I like it. It's basic. I'm planning on doing exposed seams as well as knitted ribbing in a contrasting solid color. So I think that's gonna look really cool. But yeah, it's very simple. It's very basic. You're probably not gonna see a ton of progress on this, quite honestly. And then I think this is the last whip. I think this is the last whip. I have here one of my more luxurious makes of all time. this, wait, where did I put my hanger? Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Brain fart. I really do need the hanger to show off this make. So this is a quite heavily modified, ooh, the collar's being funny, a quite heavily modified version of the Elizabeth blouse by PetiteKnit. Oh, it's so pretty. Look at that blue. So pretty. It's quite heavily modified. Um, I did a contiguous, hopefully you can actually see that. I don't know how well you can. Yeah, you can see that. It's a contiguous set-in sleeve because I don't really like raglans. There are some raglan patterns that I like the Friday tee, for example. I like that because it's got those stripes that run across the chest and shoulders, which creates a broadening effect. And I think a lot of the times raglans, um, because of the seams here, it creates a sort of diminishing effect that makes your chest and shoulders look really small, which I just don't think is especially flattering on me. Um, but yeah, this is the opposite of that. It creates more of a broadening effect. But the contiguous set-in sleeve, I always forget. I always want to call it a contiguous saddle shoulder because of the barley tee. The contiguous set-in sleeve, while it looks very different and structurally it is very different, it's knitted again pretty similarly to a raglan, honestly. So what I did was I started with the exact instructions for the collar, or at least for this part of the collar, and then I just kind of wung the rest of it, the shaping. I feel like it. I feel like the collar here needs to be deeper, but I did follow the instructions for how many rows to make it almost exactly. The one thing that I did change, and this was just a blunder, this was just me being goofy, um, for some reason, so the way that this is knit is you do this like in the round, like it's basically double knitting, but it's in the round instead of being kind of flat. It'll make sense if you knit it. And then you save these stitches for the double knit like button band, even though there's no buttons on it. And what you're supposed to do is knit it like a double knit button band, where like you pick up stitches along the edge here, and then you like decrease into them or whatever you do for a double knit button blanket. I've never knit one. You're supposed to knit it like that, and that's not how I did it. That's just not how I did it. For some reason, I thought, I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me. For some reason, I thought what I was supposed to do, what I thought the best thing to do was to double knit it and like double knit it separately, and then seam it. I don't know why. I don't know why that's what I thought I was supposed to do. But that's what I did. And I mean, it worked. It worked. But you can see it does look kind of unclean. I didn't necessarily seam it poorly, but it's just that you can kind of see like the knitted edge. It just looks a little funny. So it's not a big deal. I don't think, like, if anybody's going to get that close to even notice that, you're too close. Like, you're too close to me if you're even going to notice that. But yeah, I love it. The sleeves look a little narrow, but they fit me just fine. The shaping is really nice. It's great. It's great. This is my first like very successful contiguous set-in sleeve. And I didn't mention the yarn. So the yarn is might be my favorite part, my favorite thing about this project. This is Knitting for Olive. I have a bunch more in this bag. Wait, let me see if I can get you one with labels. Here we go. Knitting for Olive Merino. Yeah, Knitting for Olive Merino and Knitting for Olive Compatible Cashmere is what this is. In the colorway Poppy Blue. And it shows up a little bit more vibrantly on camera than it does in person. Well, maybe it's accurate. It's pretty vibrant. Sorry that I keep looking at it. I want to make sure everything looks okay. It's quite vibrant. It does look, yeah, it's a little bit more vibrant on camera. But it's this gorgeous, it's cornflower blue. That's all it is. And I looked it up because they also have poppy red, and like poppies are red. Does that make sense? But like, what about poppy blue? That doesn't make sense to me. I googled it. Blue poppies are a thing, and they are pretty much this color. But it's just cornflower blue, really, is all it is. So it's really pretty. Don't show my face. Focus on the yarn. I love it. It's very soft. Their merino is actually not that soft. It's not itchy. It's not rustic, but it's not like buttery soft like a superwash, because it's not superwash. So it's not as like buttery soft as a superwash merino tends to be, but it's pretty soft, and the cashmere is ridiculous. The cashmere is so nice. It is so soft and plush, and it almost feels more soft when combined with the merino. So I'm a big fan of that. Yeah, it's working up. I'm gonna knit it to have 3/4 sleeves instead of full sleeves because that's just, I don't know, just what I want. Yeah, it's maybe a bit preppier than I would normally go with, but I really like it, and I know that I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of it. Okay, so now that that's all out of the way, that brings us to what is arguably the most exciting section of the video, and that is my discussion of future plans. So I've got some yarn here. All of it has a potential future project connected to it, and I'm gonna go over all of that and maybe figure out with you what my next knit is gonna be. So first of all, got some yarn here. I only have like one of each skein because I think having the whole quantity is just gonna be excessive and unnecessary. So this is Juniper Moon. How am I doing? Show you this is Juniper Moon Farm Summer Solstice and Juniper Moon Farm Zoe. And they color Baby's Breath and White Pepper. And with these, I intend to knit another Friday tee because I knit a Friday tee last year in Hobie. It's either their Friends cotton or their Rainbow cotton. It's the same yarn. It's just different colors. It's the same yarn. It's either their Friends or their Rainbow cotton. The 8/4 one, which they call it 8/4. It's not. They're calling it a fingering weight. It's not. I looked at the label, and it was technically a fingering weight according to the math on the label, but it's very heavy. It is a very heavy fingering weight, and honestly, it's very similar in thickness to this yarn. And what I did for that piece, because the gauge was so different, and also I'm a quite loose knitter. PetiteKnit is not a loose knitter at all. She's a very tight knitter. What I just did is I knit the smallest size, and then I didn't increase all the way, and it fits me wonderfully. I love that knit. And I want to knit a second one, and I'll just do the same thing. It's gonna be fine. I'll just do the same thing. But again, the problem is, as I was talking about with the second barley sample, is these linen yarns just kill my hands, and I'd like to get to it sooner rather than later, but I don't want to hurt myself, you know? And I feel like something like this, particularly in these colors, it's green. It doesn't look green. I don't know why. It doesn't look quite as good on camera, but it's a really nice sagey green is what the color is. It's very beautiful. Particularly with these colors, I think that I can easily still wear this in the fall. So there's really no rush, but I'm just nervous about hurting my hands. So that's kind of the first thing. But again, I have no idea. I know that I'm gonna make it. I know that I'm gonna cast it on. I just don't really know when. And I'm really excited to have something with texture and something with color because I've just been knitting such plain pieces, and I'm a little bored, to be quite honest with you. And the next thing is very similar, but also very different. Ooh, this is not going to be easy for you to see. It's the same color as it's the exact same color as my comforter. This is Rocco Ultra Alpaca. I said the name the other wrong. Ultra Alpaca. I want to say it's the color Indigo Heather. It doesn't actually say, but it does say it's color 6288. It's a 100% alpaca. No, it's not. It's 50% alpaca and 50% Peruvian Highland wool. There it is. It's a nice heather. I really would like to show you, but my face is in the way. So, yeah, there you can see it. It's a gorgeous heather it's really kind of like teal and purple. It's not exactly just like a pure navy or indigo. It's really, it's teal and purple kind of spun together. And I love it. I love the yarn. I have 3 skeins of it, and the intent for this is to knit an Ingrid slipover. And I've already done the gauge swatch. I did I did do the gauge swatch probably last year. It was probably last fall, or last summer even. And I didn't end up knitting it at the time, but I did get gauge with a 3.75 millimeter needle. She recommends a 4. And I use 3.75 because I know that my gauge is a lot looser than hers, and I hit gauge perfectly. So also because my 4mm needles are taken right now, and I don't have an infinite number of needles. I use an interchangeable set, and I don't have any fixed circulars above 3.5 because when I was learning to knit, or like when I was like first getting into knitting really heavily in 2022, I only knit in fingering weight yarn. For some reason, it's all I ever used. So I have 3mm, 3.25, and 3.5mm needles. in a fixed circulars, I mean, in a huge range of cord lengths. I have so many of them, and I have nothing else. I have no other needle sizes. Um, so I'm going to my local yarn store tomorrow because we have a knitting group meeting tomorrow, and it's at the local yarn store during hours, so you can buy supplies. And I'm probably gonna buy a different crochet hook for this as well because it's flat. It is a flat grip, which with the way that I crochet, I move the hook like this, and that's very uncomfortable in a flat grip. So I'm gonna try to find a new needle and probably some more like 4mm fixed circulars, 3.75 fixed circulars, 4.5. You know, I'm probably gonna buy some fixed circulars, or alternatively buy more interchangeable tips and cords because I need those too. Because I use the interchangeable stuff more. But yeah, this is on the roster. I'm very excited because I just want texture. I just want some texture. I'm so sick of the plain stockinette. I want texture, and there's some colorwork stuff that I could be doing, but it's like colorwork yoke and then a sleeve stockinette, which like doesn't fix my problem, right? So I really want to do some texture, and even though I won't be able to wear this as soon as I finish it necessarily, unless I take my time with it, I probably won't be able to wear this as soon as I finish it. I will, in theory, still be able to wear this sooner than I would be able to wear like a full sweater, because it's a slip over, and like I can put it over a t-shirt. It's fine. I can wear it in one of these videos. Um, but yeah, I'm excited. And there's no sleeves. I don't like sleeves. I don't like knitting sleeves very much, which is why like I'm with this. I've I'm not all the way through the body, and I've already started the sleeves because I just want to get them done. I just want to get them out of the way. So there's no sleeves. It's just like ribbing. So I'm excited for this. I think I would probably knit this before I knit this. I think probably like again like just to be using some wool. Um, but yeah, so that's on the roster. Probably sooner rather than later, but I don't know how much sooner. And then I have something. Sorry if you can see my messy bookshelf. I have quite a. It's gonna look gross because I've already opened the bag. Um, but I have a pretty big quantity of this yarn, which is Fiber Natura Donna or Donna. It's an Italian merino. It's 100% superwash merino. It's commercial, so it's like very squishy. In the color is Steely is the color. It's this like warm, very dark, kind of slate gray. And hang on, I need to cough. Sorry, the COVID cough is still so bad. What was I saying about this? Oh gosh. It's dark gray. It's a nice gray for me. Yeah, it's nice and it's warm, but it's very dark, which I think is perfect for me. Um, and my intent for this is to knit up a cabled cardigan. And I'm not sure yet what I'm gonna do. I kind of just want to follow a pattern, because I'm a little bit tired of like drafting my own stuff. I like it, like it's fun for me, it's fulfilling for me. But sometimes you just want to turn your brain off and follow a pattern. And particularly with cables, which is not something that I am super well versed in compared to either color work or just plain stockinette. Um, I'm less well versed in cables, but like I already kind of know what I want, and I don't know. I would have to like find the perfect pattern for it, you know. Um, but yeah, I want to do some cables. I want to do a cardigan. The hope is drop shoulder cabled cardigan with a double knit button placket and pockets. That's what I would like for this. Um, so I don't really know exactly what I'm going to do. I was thinking about doing my own pattern and like trying to get testers and getting it released in December or January. But then I have to start it like now, and I'm a full-time student. Like I have other things to do. This is just a hobby for me, and I feel like that's for me personally. Like that feels like putting a little bit more pressure on me than is totally necessary. Um, and so I'm probably just going to find a cabled cardigan pattern, probably a free one. A lot of them exist. It's DK weight yarn. So many patterns out there exist for DK weight yarn. So it's not that exciting, but I'm really excited to make this, like, because I know that I'm gonna wear it like hell. Um, so not totally sure what I'm doing. Not completely certain, but I've got an idea. I've got some idea of what I'm gonna do with that. And I do think that also at my local yarn store tomorrow, I'm going to have to buy more of this because I have 450 or 500 grams of this, and that's not enough. Like that's enough for me to knit a stockinette sweater in DK weight yarn, but not a cabled cardigan with pockets and a double knit button placket. It's just not gonna work. So I'm gonna need to buy at least another 100 grams of that tomorrow. It's kind of expensive yarn, so I'm like, ugh, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. It's gonna be good. And then the last thing is this monstrosity that's just been sitting here, um, just at the edge of your view, which you're gonna go, what? That's a work in progress. This is not a plan. This is a work in progress. And you're right and wrong. It is clearly some kind of work in progress, but I will not be finishing this as it exists. So what this is a scrap sweater. This is a scrap sweater that I knit up. And I actually love it. I'm crazy about the look of it. It's so fun. It feels kind of weird. Like, it's kind of a weird, it's not like stylish per se, but it's just fun. And I like that. Um, but it sucks. It kind of sucks as a sweater. And the reason for that is because it is a scrap sweater and all of the colors of yarn here are made with such different yarns. So this is a sport weight merino from Sorella. I think it's 100% merino, I think. Sport weight. This is a fingering weight merino sock yarn. This is a sport weight cotton silk yarn from Noro. I think it's Noro Sonata. This is a Hobie sock yarn, which is just like Danish wool, Norwegian wool, whatever it is. It's quite itchy and toothy and very thin. And this is a plump fingering weight cashmere merino, and this is two lace weight cashmeres all together. So very different blend of yarns. These are not the same. I don't know why I did this. It's because I had all of this yarn in my stash. I was like, oh, I want to use it for something. I want to put it to use because I love all the yarn. I think all these colors will look good together, and they do. I love it. But as a garment, like actually wearing it is not comfortable. It is just not comfortable. And the gauges are very different, as you can probably see. Like the Noro Sonata here, like it's rippling because it's so big compared to all the other ones. And these cranberry stripes are just itchy. They're just so itchy. Great for socks. I love this yarn for socks. I think it's rainbow sock, Hobie rainbow sock, maybe. It's one of my favorite sock yarns. I love it. But it's not good anywhere other than my feet, really. So I will be unraveling this and using the yarn to knit, hopefully, a Vertices Unite shawl by Stephen West, which would be my first shawl ever. I've never made a shawl before, but something about that pattern I just love. Like, I love a lot of Stephen West's shawls. Like, there's another one that I want to say it's called, like, Starflake or something, and it's like a big, like, half snowflake pattern. It looks incredible. And I just really want to knit it, and I like how he styles it as like almost like a really big bandana scarf. Um, and I just think that these colors would do really well in that because it is kind of a hodgepodge of colors as it is in the original design, and I've seen a lot of other people's samples of it, and a lot of them use like a bunch of really crazy, very different colors. And I just think that it'll work. I just think that it'll look good together. I think it will be really fun. It'll be really different. It is going to be a more like pattern reading intensive project that I'm used to. Like normally, sorry, I'm working on a little sock. Normally I'm used to just like glancing at a pattern and then going my own way, running with it, doing my own thing. And for Vertices Unite, I'm definitely not going to be able to do that because of the way that it's constructed is you make these little like triangles and diamonds that I want to say are shaped with like increases, decreases, and short rows, I think. And I think some are garter and some are brioche, maybe. I'm not actually completely certain about that. But it's not just like flat, straight knitting. It's not. And it doesn't, the shaping doesn't follow any pattern that I would already have in the back of my head and just be able to figure out on my own. And so I'm not used to having to like sit and read the pattern and like follow it very closely. But I think that's gonna be fun and a fun, engaging, like new, different kind of knit. And I am actually really excited to cast that on. And for me now, the dilemma is just deciding what I do first. And I almost think I might do that first, maybe, because it's so different. It's so different from everything else that I've been knitting. And I think that I just need like a breath of fresh air. Like I've been knitting so many garments, and that's part of the reason why I cast the sock on, is because I've just been knitting so many garments, and I feel like I need something different, you know? As much as I love garment knitting, like I wouldn't knit all of these garments if I didn't love garment knitting. I just feel like I need something different, you know? And I feel like that shawl could be that different thing, to just give me kind of a breath of fresh air. But yeah, I'm gonna think about it. We'll see. I'm gonna read through the pattern, see what I actually need for it in case I need to go to the yarn store. Well, no, I'm going to the yarn store tomorrow, but like in case I need to get anything for it at the yarn store. Um, but yeah, those are my those are my future plans. So yeah, hopefully I can actually figure something out because I'm really not sure yet what I want to do. So that is officially everything, and I wanted to say thank you so much for sticking around, staying tuned for my full first ever podcast episode. I know it was maybe not that exciting. I feel like normally in podcasts, they're a lot longer and there's like a lot more that gets discussed. Um, they're maybe a little more interesting, but I don't know. I just said everything that came to my mind. Sorry about the audio. It's probably really bad. I'm talking kind of softly, and I don't have a microphone. I'm just using my cell phone. If I stick with this, I'm probably gonna get a microphone, um, to just hook up my phone, to fix the audio a little bit. And what else? What else? What else? I don't really know what kind of a schedule I'm going to operate off of. I'm thinking of honestly, like starting with monthly. Um, so like this month will be the July podcast, then doing an August podcast, September podcast. And if I really like it, or if I get ideas for more videos, then I might um, increase the frequency to 2 weeks, maybe. I'm not totally sure yet, but I'll figure it out. There's no rush. I've got plenty of time. I know for sure that there are some other like not strictly like knitting podcast format videos that I want to talk about. Like, I know at the end of the year I'm gonna want to do a full like my year in review, where I talk about every single thing that I knit in 2024, try it on, talk about it, show it off. Because I had some real duds. I've knit some really fantastic things this year, and I've made bad mistakes with my knitting this year. Um, and in that same vein, I want to do like my favorite knits of all time and my least favorite knits of all time that I hate. Um, frog or finish. Like, there's all kinds of videos that I want to talk about. I may even do stuff like um, answering questions or talking about techniques. Um, I'm not, I'm not an expert, like not even close to it. I would call myself like advanced-ish. Um, I know I have a very uh, broad knowledge of different techniques and how they work in the anatomy of knitting. Um, but I'm not really an expert, and even then, like the knowledge that I do have can be kind of difficult to actually explain. So I don't know if that would be helpful at all, but I don't know. I might do more like technique focused videos as well. Probably no tutorials because I'm just bad at tutorials, but you know, there's all kinds of stuff that I could do, might do, will probably try to do. Um, so yeah, in conclusion, to end this off, I appreciate you sticking around. I hope you had at least a little bit of fun. If you have any thoughts, feelings, ideas on what I should be making, because I did talk about all of my sort of prospective makes and like what you think I should do, or if you have advice on not getting hand pain when working with those really tough plant fibers, do let me know. That would be very appreciated. It would probably change my life, honestly. Um, and yeah, leave me a comment. Check out my Ravelry, my Instagram. Do whatever you want. I would be remiss to not self promote a little bit, but like, do whatever you want. I just appreciate you being here. Um, and yeah, that's a wrap for today. And happy knitting.